This journey began in 1945 when a little girl was born to Hy and Sylvia Horowitz, sister to David, and quite a cute addition to the Horowitz household, Nancy Beth. Now, Nancy's life was what many would have labeled privileged, but that privilege was not merely about material possessions. Her blessings came from the heart, surrounded by her family's dedication and love. But Nancy was also blessed with brilliance and a very feisty nature. Discussions around the dinner table were lively. Everyone had an opinion, but those opinions were shared with warmth and passion. Nancy grew and matured, and finally left the comfort of her home to attend college. But it was on the campus of SUNY in Buffalo, New York, where the debating stopped for a moment, and she met the man who would become her best friend, Henry Gewirtz. Now, certainly no shrinking violet. It was Nancy who made the first move. We think Henry was just too shy to open his mouth, or maybe he couldn't get a word in edgewise. But in 1969, he was wise enough to utter the right words.
This is dedicated to the one I love.
They were married amongst friends and family, beginning a journey that would be even more exciting than their first day as husband and wife. Children Aaron and Rebecca were not far behind, filling out the Gewirtz foursome. Rebecca and Aaron have learned a lot from their mother, and so have we. When Nancy first came to the Rhode Island School of Social Work, neither the students nor teachers knew what to expect. What they got could not be easily defined. It was beyond expectation.
I find it kind of strange that every one of your students came here to speak against Dr. Picano. Could it be that they were influenced by your teaching in the classroom?
I hope so.
One student, warned of her high academic standards and unflinching demands, did everything in her power to avoid her classes. When her new student challenged Nancy on her motives for social action, she was quick to respond with fullness and fervor. We do it to keep hope alive. We have to keep going because we do make a difference.
And I just want to urge members of the Finance Committee, who I know have been so supportive in the past, to make sure that DHS does have the resources it needs as it moves into this next phase of engaging the most vulnerable.
She's been called the heart and soul of the school, a remarkable person with vision and tenacity.
Nancy, we haven't had the benefit of your
Dr. Gewirtz.
Doctor, I'm sorry.
She has been a member of the School of Social Work since 1978 and the director of the Rhode Island Poverty Institute since its inception.
We're going to eliminate this program that gives people $100 a year.
She has been a force that has helped shape social welfare policy in Rhode Island. Says Nancy, social workers perceive themselves as lacking political power necessary to affect public policy decisions. That perception changed the first time she offered testimony on behalf of social change.
This persistent disregard for our most vulnerable children will end up eventually costing the state and Rhode Island taxpayers a considerably larger amount of money.
She gets her fire from her father, Hyman Horowitz, an avid Celtics fan who played a pivotal role in seeking justice off the parquet floor for many Celtics players. Injustice was the family's fuel and the spark that keeps Nancy going today.
That we are mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. These are our kids.
Nancy has managed to involve family, friends, colleagues, and of course her students in social activism.
And who is that professor?
Nancy Gewirtz.
Excuse me?
Nancy Gewirtz. She's a policy
professor in the School of Social Work.
Okay, and she made that suggestion to her students?
Some kicking and screaming.
That I never planned to work with Nancy Gewirtz. In fact, I planned not to. I knew, just from what I'd seen in the first lecture, that she was probably going to grab my guts, and I'm going to cater, and I'm going to do stuff, and this is just not going well.
But all willing to stand beside her. She is not your average college professor.
Not government for the people. We were thrown out of there. We were told that we would be told why we were thrown out of there.
Long ago, Nancy understood her father's teachings, that everybody's soul is equal. It was her choice to make that her legacy, fighting for the souls who didn't have the strength yet to fight for themselves. That might be me today. That could be you tomorrow. She is a marvel to most.
Since 1981, there's a 10% increase in the number of people that live in poverty. That's first of all. At our own department, if you compare this 6-month period with a year ago, there has been a 72% increase in the number of intakes.
A pain to many.
Since you are a self-proclaimed teller of everybody in Rhode Island, to everybody in Rhode Island, who they should have as the head of that department, and you're holding yourself out as an expert.
What does he do? What
kind of job did he do when he was there?
And we often wonder where this cache of courage comes from. Perhaps it comes from the work that is yet to be done.
Unless our state makes a serious commitment to improve the plight of its poorest children, we will be forced to concede that the 68,296 children who live in families that cannot meet their basic needs are the children Rhode Island does not love. Thank you.
Poverty for many of us is the summation of statistics, studies, or surveys. But when Nancy speaks, when Nancy puts power behind her voice, we hear poverty breathe. We hear, and we finally understand. No matter how much we attempt to respond to this epidemic by making moralistic judgments about people's behavior, the reality is we cannot be separated from each other. Society is a series of relationships that make up the fabric of our existence.
People get ready, there's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board.
We have been blessed to have relationships with Nancy Gewirtz. She is our fearless leader, passionate and persistent. All our worlds changed when she demanded our attention about a human being's birthright, dignity. Through Nancy, we hear her father's words. We are put on this earth to help each other out. There have been countless awards, recognitions, and accolades, far too many to mention with a sense of completeness. But none of the sparkling tributes can capture the impact on this community and how Nancy has touched us, one by one by one. In this constellation, Nancy's star shines brightest. Yet with all that light, no one is ever in her shadow. So what is our responsibility to this legacy? We have a duty to keep the fire burning. We've been taught well, never let your faith waver. We've been trained by the best. She has taken time with all of us. There are more challenges, and there is much more work to be done. But rest assured, it will get done. Give back, because we do make a difference. Stand, deliver, and demand respect.
What you